Divine Nurture friends, welcome back to another video. As promised, I'm so excited to be sharing all this great information that I have to offer. Man, so today we're going to be covering what is needed to start your home child care. The first steps. I know you watched the last video. If you haven't, pause, go watch it. However, this video will be discussing specifics on like what you need to do literally to start the process in California. If you live in a different state, it's okay. It's pretty much kind of the same. Regulations may be a little bit different, but you should still be able to have a website where you're able to go on there and find that information as well. So if you're new, take a moment, subscribe, like this video, and leave me a comment on how you like the video, what other videos you would like for me to do, or just say hey. Anywho, so let's jump right in. I just want to bring you the basics for if you're looking to start your home child care. You never know. So, here we go. To start your home child care, there are basically four major steps that you need to do. That's it, just four steps. The first step is you have to complete an orientation. So orientation can be done online or it can be done in person. Me personally, I did mine in person. I know what type of person I am. However, we are coming out of a pandemic, so it may be a little different for you. But if you're trying to step into childcare, you shouldn't be tripping about doing it in person anyway. What you want to do is you have to complete the orientation. The orientation, you can call your local office, childcare licensing office, and they'll let you know the next upcoming scheduled date. It's not like, oh, I could just come in. No, you have to schedule with them, and they'll let you know the dates. During this orientation, I found it to be so helpful because it's one thing to get information from people, but it's another thing to actually like know what you need to do. Because you know sometimes people don't be having all the facts. So during this orientation, they will go over things like laws and regulations of what you'll need to know for you and your clients. You'll be able to understand like how many kids you can have with how many adults that you are working with, or if you're working by yourself, things like that. You will also be going over what you have to do to get like a background check and what's acceptable and what's not to start a home child care, having a criminal record, so to speak. I'll also go over the requirements for your facility as well that you would need to go through and have like checked off to get it. And then lastly, they'll go over the application process. So of course, I just mentioned key points of what they're going to be going over, but it is in super detailed. So this is the time where you can get any of your questions answered and just get clarity. So on the online version, you will have to, it's a secure location through their website as well that you will have to schedule, and they don't let you skip like some orientations do online. You will have to sit and go through it, but you are able to go backwards. So if you want to take notes, review things and stuff like that. So that is a helpful tool as well. I just wanted to discuss the forms. There's a certain amount of key forms that you will need. Let me just start by saying this actually before I go into the forms.
Yeah.
So I didn't really know what was actually needed to start a home childcare because I was in the field of teaching for so long that, you know, it was so many higher standards when you're working in a facility versus your home. So I kind of just assumed that it was the same because I take this seriously. You're dealing with little people. You get what I'm saying? So, but when I found out you only need to be 18. You only needed to have a high school diploma. And of course you needed to do a couple other things. But other than that, you didn't have to have a degree. You didn't have to have super, like, just experience in it. None of that at all. Blew my mind, you know. Hey, I guess.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Just blew my mind. So to jump into the forms that are needed. The forms that are needed for this application process is, of course, the application form. I'm going to give you, for the ones in California, the numbers so you don't have to go searching for them. But for the application form, if you go to the communitycarelicensing.gov website, they have a place for all their forms, and these are the forms that you actually need to fill out to be able to turn in. So after you go through that orientation process, there is a fee for that as well, and it's non-refundable also. Like I said before, anything worth having, you got to pay for, or do some trainings, or do some schooling or something. But hey, that's just how it is. So the application number is LIC 279. And this form has all the basics, like your name, address, blah, 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 the hours and the days that you want to work, like little stuff like that, right? And then the next form that you're going to have to fill out is going to be, sorry, I'm looking at my notes because I can't remember specifically everything. And I don't want to ramble. Okay, so the next form is, there's a form, LIC 279A, and this form is a form for you to list all the kids that live in your home. So licensing just doesn't want to know the kids that you'll be serving. You do have to also give them information about who lives in your home, what kids are in your home, and they also have to turn in background checks and paperwork as well. So be mindful of that if you live with criminals or, just live one of those lives, I guess. The next form that you will have to turn in is a criminal statement form, and this is LIC 508. This form is just basically stating that I have not done any criminal behavior, or I have, and if I have, what was it, things like that. And then you have to actually go in and get a background check. You can't just go get a background check from whoever. You actually have to go get a background check from the community care licensing company, because they do a specific background check. So, and that's why some people who may have a criminal record, depending on what it is, may still be able to do childcare. So it's not like, oh, I just got a record and I can't just do anything. No, they exempt some certain things as well. The next form that you'll need to be filling out is the emergency disaster form. This form is LIC 610A. This form is just to let them know, I got a plan. If anything was to happen, this is my plan. This is where we're gonna go. This is where our emergency spot is, where we're gonna meet up. So if something was to happen and parents are coming to look for their kids, they know to meet at the corner of our street where the big church is. And that's where we're gonna be heading to if something happened at the house. You get what I'm saying? And last form, licensing form that you have to fill out is a facility sketch. This is LIC 999A. This sketch is going to be of the inside perimeter of your home as well as the exterior, and you're also going to have to do an outside sketch as well. So if you have like a backyard where they're going to be playing and things like that, that needs to be sketched out as well. So you have to do the inside and the outside in the perimeter. And it doesn't have to be fancy, but it's just basically showing them the layout of your house, because it's not like you're sending in pictures for your file. Now I just want to go in a little further with documents, things that you will actually have to turn in. You will have to provide proof that you went to the orientation, which they will give you a certificate that you would just put in a folder and keep all your papers. Like, plain and simple. You need to keep all your papers, because paperwork is everything, especially when you're doing things like this. They need to keep things on file for record purposes, right? You also need to show proof that you took a preventative health course and first aid and CPR. You have to show your cards from that, and they can't be expired, of course, because if in case of any emergency, you need to be able to perform those on your little people so you can save a life. Woo! You're not only a child care provider, but you're a lifesaver. Wow. Next, they do have certain immunizations that you do need to turn in, like for certain, it is the TB clearance, and that is for you, staff, and any adults that live in the home. So everybody has to turn those in. You have to turn in flu shots. So if you exempt them, you have to still turn in that you exempted for the year, sign it and date it. And I think there's the measles, I think. And all of these have to be within the year. So you can't be like, oh yeah, I had that shot years ago, here's my record. Nope, they want to know current stuff. So you might have to retake certain immunizations to keep it current. Now, those are all the basic requirements for if you're doing a small childcare. If you are going to do a large childcare, which is a total of 14 children, 2 of them being 2 school agers. I'll do another video on the child teacher ratios for you guys, so this video is just not too long, and go in lots of detail with that. If you're going to be a large child care, there are a couple of extra forms and documents that you need to turn in, so just be mindful of that. One is you have to show proof that you've had experience working with kids. And so let's say you worked at a school, like for me, I worked at Child Start for some years and I was a lead teacher there. So I just had my supervisor write me up like a recommendation letter, basically, of my experience there. And then I turned that in. So I was able to start off as a large immediately, rather than having to take a year of being a small, getting the experience, and then reapplying for a large. So that was pretty cool on my part. But so if you had a job working with kids, volunteering, things like that, just be mindful of that. If you work with kids, you work with kids, and then just get a recommendation letter so you can apply for a large. You also need to get a fire clearance. So this is the fire department coming into your home. There is a form that you have to fill out. You do have to get a fire extinguisher because you are dealing with a larger number of kids. So it's a certain fire extinguisher you need to get. It needs to get serviced, so you can't just buy it and be like, here's our fire extinguisher. They're gonna be like, when was it serviced? And that has to be serviced every year. It doesn't cost much to get serviced, but it's just so they know, and you know it's working efficiently, and if you have a fire, it's gonna work. And you're not like, what do I do? Okay. You have to get the fire extinguisher, you have to get it serviced, and they put a stamp on it and the date, so licensing would know. And then also the fire department will come into your home, inspect your full home, not just the daycare area, to make sure everything is pretty much up to par and tell you what you might want to get looked at, checked out, or fixed, or anything like that. And you have to have a fire alarm. If you are a large now in 2022, I think they started this maybe a year or two ago, right before the pandemic, but you had to get a fire pull down station. So before, you just needed the fire extinguisher and the clearance from the fire department. Now they want you to have a pull down station. So you may have to find an electrician or create some kind of pull down station where you can get that installed in your home. And a pull down station, for those who do not know, is basically like if you're in a facility building and there's a fire and somebody just pulls down the alarm that goes off for everybody to hear. So it's just something like that. So you do need a pull down station, and it has to be cleared as well. And it has to work, so they're gonna have you test it out. Are your fire extinguishers, your carbon monoxide, you have to have one of those that's working, and things like that. So those are two other things. You also need to pay a fee for your application. Depending on if you're gonna be large or small, there are two different fees. Of course, if you're large, it's a lot more. If you're small, it's a lot cheaper. But you still have to pay a fee. I think the large is like $140 and the small is like close to $100. So be mindful of that. Lastly is the most important part. All of it is important, but it can be the nerve-wracking part, especially if you're like not really good at being evaluated and talking with people, with other adults that are evaluating you and making sure you have everything in place. It can be a little nerve-wracking because if you have a heart to really do this, you really want to get it approved and things like that. So I would just say try to mentally prepare for that, because there is a pre-licensing inspection. So on top of all the paperwork and orientations and classes and stuff that you may have to do, you do have to go through a pre-licensing not orientation, but pre-licensing inspection. Pre-licensing inspection. So in this inspection, it is scheduled, so you will be aware when they're coming to your home, which is a blessing. When they come to your home, they will be going off of a checklist that they will have and making sure that you have everything. So they're not just going to be roaming through your house, they are going to be specifically looking at certain things. The awesome part is they do have a pre-checklist for you to do yourself before having that scheduled visit. So it's like, I didn't know about that. Oh no, they make sure that you're well informed to know all of what you need to know to do the things that you need to do to get licensed. They come in, they introduce themselves, they have all their paperwork, and in my experience, I've had nice people. However, they were the nice people that clearly came in to do a job and they're not trying to make friends. So if you could just respect that, you won't have to be like, oh, they weren't nice and blah. Nope, they're coming to do a job. It's a serious job because you're trying to open up a business dealing with small people. And you and I both know there has been too many news reports with small kids in daycares and things in schools and things not happening and not being supervised and just a whole bunch of mess, right? So if you have everything on this checklist checked out, they will give you, basically you pass, and then you will get your license paperwork. So where you are officially licensed and you can start opening that next day after you receive your license, as long as all your other paperwork is turned in and things like that. However, if you do not have everything checked off on that inspection, they will write up a report, let you know what they looked at, and let you know that this needs to be fixed by this amount of time, or you will have to go through the process all over. So they give you time to fix your issue, and then you will have to call back. They will not be checking in on you, so you have to take the responsibility to call them back, let them know I got them fixed, I'm gonna send it over to you, here's everything that I was supposed to fix, and then they will schedule another inspection to make sure with their own eyes that everything was taken care of that was supposed to. After that, if you clear, you'll be licensed, baby. Okay, that is the process of getting licensed here in California. In other states, it may be a little bit different, but typically kind of the same. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave me a comment of what you liked, what you didn't like, and anything else. Soon I'll be bringing you another informative video. I'll be bringing you story times of what I've experienced with parents, with kids, with staff, all the above, right? And bringing you some activities, some quick games, how to shop when you start your child care on a budget or not on a budget, resources that help, and so much more. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for listening to me once again. I'm so excited to be doing these videos. I hope they're informative and it's some good information for you. So thanks for tuning in. Bye, Divine Nurture friends. See you later.